Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fishing with Kagan. In this one, we're testing out our new cargo e-bike, cruising the levee around Lake Okeechobee, dodging gators, and trying something new. I'm fishing with live shiners for the first time. It's part fishing trip, part mini adventure, and yeah, things definitely get interesting. Let's jump into it. We kicked off the morning by loading up the e-bikes and grabbing our rods and tackle bags, because today was the day I finally learned how to fish for bass with live shiners. Our first stop, Gerard's Bait and Tackle. We picked up 3 dozen live shiners, which felt like a lot until you start losing them to fish, weeds, or just bad casts. The plan was to cruise the Rim Canal and try to find some quieter spots, places that don't get hit too hard by foot traffic or bank fishermen. We started out on the Lake Okeechobee levee, which runs in a massive 109-mile loop around the lake. We weren't trying to break any records today, we just wanted to see how far the e-bikes could get us with all of our gear strapped on. And this new cargo e-bike we picked up is really cool. We loaded it down with rods, bags, a cooler, and even a live well, and somehow it all fit perfectly. Now, if you've never been to Lake Okeechobee, it's huge. 730 square miles of shallow, warm water. Basically, it's like a resort for fish, birds, gators, everything in between. And one thing I've had to keep reminding myself, if it holds water in Florida, it probably holds predators. And this lake, it's got a lot of gators. Like 30,000 to 40,000 of them. So picking a fishing spot isn't just about where the fish might be, it's also about where the gator isn't waiting to ambush you. You've got to be careful when getting near the edge, especially in this area. We hadn't been out long before we heard one making that deep, rumbling mating call from the bank. We couldn't see him, but the ripples in the water gave him away. We hit our first spot and tossed some topwater frogs just to see if we could get a blow up. But it was clear that window had already closed. Time to switch it up, tie on a hook, and go with the live bait like we planned. Still, I can't help myself. Even on a live bait day, I've got to throw a topwater at least a few times. It is just too fun not to. The water's been crazy low lately. They've been keeping the lock shut to try and hold on to as much as they can. We found a few old spots we'd fished before, but this time the water had dropped so much it didn't even feel like the same place. There were suddenly beaches where there used to be 5 feet of water. And yeah, I'm the kind of person who can't walk past weird stuff in nature without poking at it. So when we saw live mussels scattered along the shoreline, I just had to check them out. After that little detour and some exploring, we jumped back on the e-bikes and started heading towards our next spot. The ride along the top of the Rim Canal, oh my gosh, it was just perfect. The early morning light, the clear skies, a little breeze, honestly, it just doesn't get much better. It's the kind of peaceful stretch that makes you forget you're even on a mission. Almost. To get where we were going, we did have to pop out onto the road for a minute. We kept an eye out for traffic as cars zoomed by, but even riding roadside, the views were still gorgeous. To me, every road in Florida is something unique and beautiful. Florida just showing off. We pulled over at one of the locks and tossed out a few shiners to see if we could stir up anything, but no luck. Still, there was one spot nearby that had produced bass for us in the past, so we figured we'd give it another go. Funny enough, all the quiet little backwater areas we tried to reach on the bikes just didn't pay off. But this next place, where you'd expect fish to be spooked from all the pressure, it ended up being the hot spot. Go figure. From the high ground, we could see right into the water. At least 10 to 15 gators just casually floating or sunning themselves. And you know there were more under the surface. It definitely adds a little intensity to every cast. We rigged up our rods and started tossing out shiners. Now, fishing with live bait is a whole different game than using artificials. I love the hands-on feel of working a lure, so just tossing a shiner under a bobber and waiting, it tested my patience a little bit. But it didn't take long before Jerry hooked onto a nice little Okeechobee bass.
Look at you! Got on, nice little Okeechobee bass.
There we go.
Gotta get it back in the water. There's 100 gators over here.
And a few minutes later, I had a fish on too. But what came up was not what I was expecting.
The cow. Woo! Oh! Oh, is it a...
It was a clown knife fish. Now, these things are invasive to Florida, and hands down, the wildest looking fish I have ever caught. I was so excited. Even though they don't belong here, I'm not one to kill something without a purpose. Now, if we had had a cooler with us, we would have brought it back to feed to some of our animals, but without one, I just wasn't about to leave it on the rocks to rot.
Holy cow. Holy smokes. Wow, wait, are these the ones that are invasive?
Yeah. I'd probably let it go. I mean, what do you want to do? That's not a small one, though. And hey, look at you. That is badass.
Wow. Monster.
Was he off the float?
Yeah. Super cool. Monster clown knife.
You get it on film when you were reeling it in?
Yeah.
That is awesome, Kagan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Clown knife fish. It's an invasive fish to Florida.
I made a bad call though, trying to revive it down by the water's edge. With that many gators around, that was not the move. Now, nothing happened, thankfully, but I am not taking that risk again. I learned my lesson.
Ooh!
While Jerry hooked another bass,
Yeah.
Not a giant, but we'll take it.
I decided to walk farther down the rocks, just seeing if I could find a new angle to cast from. And like always, I couldn't resist checking between the rocks for old lures or lines somebody left behind and got snagged. But what I found was something I never expected.
So this is crazy. I actually just found this banded water snake. Poor guy has a cinched line around his neck. We're gonna get that off for him. Oh, buddy. He's probably not been able to eat. I just happened to see the line. I didn't actually even know that there was anything on the end of it. Oh, hey, honey. Oh, poor guy. All right, let's get it off you. There we go. Oh. Man, he looks to not be in great shape. But hopefully, with that off of him, he will end up doing a little better. All right, bud. He looks like he's got quite a few things going on, but hopefully that'll put him in a better position to go about his day. Now he can actually eat. There have been lots of banded water snakes in these rocks. In fact, I actually see another one right down in there. See that guy down in there? He's good looking. Hey, buddy. My curiosity to want to see if there was a lure on the end of that line paid off, because it ended up being a snake. How funny is that? That was pretty crazy. Geez, I feel so bad for that animal. That's the problem with leaving line out here. When you break off, you never know, what's going to be getting into it after you leave it.
Once we felt like we'd fished the area enough, we decided to do a little bit more exploring. With the water levels so low, spots we'd fished before were now completely exposed. It was actually super cool getting to see what the bottom looked like, where we'd cast before, where we'd gotten bites. It was kind of wild realizing that those specific grass clumps really were holding fish. We were definitely keeping our eyes open though. With that many gators around, walking anywhere close to the water comes with a risk. This is gator country, and you never know when one's just tucked into a shadow, waiting. One more short bike ride took us to another spot, kind of off the beaten path. It looked promising, but ended up being a total bust. So we called it on the bikes, loaded everything onto the back of the truck, and honestly had to admire just how well the livewell held up strapped to the back. The setup worked better than we'd hoped. But we weren't ready to call it just yet. We hit a little spot down the road for some food and a couple of beers, and then made our way to one of our favorite local locks, not far at all. Started off tossing a few shiners just to see what was around, and then made our way to a section that's always been kind to us. It didn't take long. First, Jerry landed a solid female bass.
Watch this.
Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy cow, baby.
That's the female. The male is there.
That's amazing. Holy cow. Wow.
There you go.
Then another nice little Okeechobee male bass.
Funny. Little male.
There you go. Awesome.
And then a Mayan cichlid. We crossed to the other side of the lock and started getting a few more hits.
I don't know. Oh. Was it? Oh man. That would have been cool. Oh, that's a bass. Oh, bass.
But all of that movement and me being a little too close to the water coaxed a gator off the opposite bank. He slipped into the water, stayed submerged for a while, and then popped up right in front of us. And yeah, he had his eyes locked on Jerry. He knew exactly what size snack he wanted. Now, for those who don't know, my silver and gray rod is nicknamed the Silver Fox. And I'm happy to say I added 2 new species to its list today.
No, it's
The clown knifefish was an
catfish?
exciting first one. And next up,
Whoa.
the bowfin, or as a lot of folks call
What?
it, the mudfish.
Awesome. Very cool. They have teeth.
Whoa. That's cool.
This thing looked straight up prehistoric and was a blast to catch. I had to be super careful with both the catch and release though. Again, thanks to that gator.
It'll be better to release them by grabbing them the other way. In case it's sharp, you don't want to throw them and all of a sudden it catch your hand.
Okay.
I thought for sure he was going to go after it when I tossed it back, but nope, he wasn't interested. He was waiting for something bigger.
That was cool.
There were little banded water snakes all over the place too. I couldn't help myself. I tried feeding one a shiner, and I honestly don't know how it survived on its own because it kept trying to eat the rock next to it instead of the fish. Then I saw a wake cut across the water. I tossed my line out and bam, fish on.
Oh, what are you? What are you? Oh, what are you?
Mudfish, yeah.
Holy cow.
Bring your fight around. You got a nice beach.
You better not get off.
All right, second mudfish of the day. This one's a little considerably larger than the last one. Look at his teeth. He's awesome. Let's get him out. Two new species in one trip, sunshine all day, gators, snakes, bass, and beers, and the best part? Getting to share it all with my better half. It just doesn't get much better than that. These kinds of days are what it's all about. Getting outside, seeing Florida's wild side, learning as I go, and sharing it all with you. I love being able to document this journey. Every weird fish, every gator encounter, every moment of trial and error as I figure out how to fish Florida's diverse waters. And I'm always open to ideas, corrections, tips, tricks, anything that helps me level up my fishing game. Before we wrapped up, we let our leftover shiners go in the pond. Who knows if they'll make it, but hey, we gave them a shot. Thanks for coming along for the ride. If you liked the video, hit that like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Until next cast.